Welcome to episode 47 of the official podcast for Guardian 1, a Destiny group dedicated to the prosperity of Guardians everywhere. We broadcast live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by River.
I hope this code works.
Crimson Warlock.
What's up, Guardians?
Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
And Guardian 1's very own recruiter extraordinaire, Kdub.
What's up, my peeps?
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening on the podcast, however it is that you choose to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter at G1Net. That's G1NET. And in addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. You can also send us feedback to our email, feedback@guardian1.net. We also have a Bungie.net forums group that's currently at 171 members. You know what? I forgot how many. If you want to join, just search for the group name Guardian 1. Guardian 1 has its own clan, so if you want to join the Guardian 1 clan, just select the buttons that say set as PlayStation clan or set as Xbox clan after you join the group. We utilize the forums for comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all of you folks that are currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. Broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always go to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts that's part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D, and their YouTube channel is youtube.com/Guardian Radio. Other podcasts include Aim Assist Gaming, TTL Party Chat, Robust Radio, and if you're into the audio grimoire, be sure to check out Ghost and Echoes. Did I forget one?
Maybe.
I might have forgot one, and I feel really bad now. Yeah, you don't think so? I feel bad. I really feel okay. All right, I'm good. Let's get this cat rolling.
All right, let's get this cat rolling. I couldn't agree more. And for those of you tuning in live, sorry about that lateness, technical difficulties, and just older computer gear that works when it works. Like right now, everything is working fine as long as I don't do absolutely anything except for make sure this doesn't go to screensaver. Everything's peachy keen. So yeah, let's get to some Destiny news. Not a whole lot to talk about, but still tons that we didn't get to from last week and the day before. So yeah, Agrios, where are we in Destiny?
Okay, well, we're gonna start talking about the Taken King in the weekly update this week. This week at Bungie, they made a list of stuff that they haven't said about the Taken King yet. They let us know that the weekly updates will be a source of information and insight on how they're updating Destiny for everyone this fall, highlighting key features and content that we know you care about. And the main question this week was, what's in the box? The Destiny, the Taken King, introduces the following on every platform. Okay, I'm going to stress certain words that kind of stood out to me as we go through this here, and I know this stood out to others on the panel. The fact that this specified on every platform is interesting. Do we want to talk about that for a minute before I dig into the list?
Yes. What are you going to say, River?
I was going to say, sure, it says on every platform, but Hawkmoon is on every platform too, right?
Is it right now?
Not yet, but it sure will be.
Okay. And this is for certain. We know that for certain.
As simple as those exclusives. That's a good point, River.
I'm just saying, it's on the disc. It's not like it's not there.
I think that this might be alluding to more along the lines of like how you can no longer on last gen systems, do a weapon compare in the vault. Like I think that we're about to look into more of these kinds of things. Like we oftentimes talked about, well, screw last gen. Why don't you give next gen people more vault space. And in reality, that doesn't work simply because you can still go back and forth. Like I would much rather have less vault space and still be able to go back to the 360, or else I'm not playing with my dad or my son anymore. so things like,
I feel you.
Right, but then you guys are totally right. It could just be the weapons. It could just be, one of the things that they did mention below here is something that's not available in current Xbox iterations. So that should be interesting. So yeah, so this is what's coming with every platform. Every platform is getting these things. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, I was with you, Remy. I was excited at first to think that meant that they were going to start progressing next gen, but since River brought that up, I think it could just be the exclusives thing. So
absolutely,
I don't get my hopes up too much.
Absolutely, thanks a lot, River, and also thank you very much. Like, I have to give you an honest thanks and also a sarcastic thanks, because why you got to rain on my parade, and at the same time, well, thanks for keeping my my expectations low. You should work for Bungie.
No way, man. I wouldn't even having Deed's job. Please, I'd probably hang myself before the week's over.
Absolutely, I think that you need to have a pretty good amount of hate for yourself already to look at those forums and be like, "This is nothing. This is what you have to say to me."
Right.
So yeah. So thank you and thanks.
Yes, sir.
Continuing.
Okay. So once again, I'm going to stress a couple words that stood out to me as I go through this here. So, new story missions and an array of side quests that conspire to tell the story of our battle to defend our solar system against Oryx and his taken army. New narrative driven by cinematic cutscenes starring an engaging cast of characters.
Okay, wait. Let me pause you right there, because I was thinking about this the other day. I was wondering, I was thinking to myself, oh man, I'm going to have to go through all of those beginning missions to, in order to get this new subclass up. But then once I was reading this, it occurs to me that this is where you will be relearning this new subclass, right? Do you guys feel the same way? Because I'm not particularly interested in going through all of those first missions again.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I think that you're thinking because you got to level each of your subclasses up on fresh characters as you went through the game.
Absolutely.
Well, the first time you do all those early missions, they provide XP bonuses. To get your characters leveled up quickly. So now those bonuses aren't there anymore, so there's no real point in going back and repeating those with your new subclass to get experience. There'll be much better ways to get experience.
Right, and then this is a fun way to tell the story, and I don't know. I'm thinking that's where this is going, and I'm excited about that. Anyone else want to jump on this, or continuing?
Well, I got something to say. I saw the things that Agro said he wants to bring up a couple key words, and I did the exact same thing. And I wrote 2 notes in that first part. One was side quests, which is interesting, and the other was an engaging cast of characters. So the cast of characters, obviously, we've got the Dinklebot, we've got all these other people that we know that are the voices from Hollywood and all these other places. So who are they going to be bringing into this as far as new voices, people we know, people you're like, holy crap, they got that person to do this? That's going to be really, really interesting.
We're going to hear from people in times we normally wouldn't have. Like the early reports we got from the game, we hear about Commander Zavala having conversations with us the whole way throughout the first mission, as opposed to just chatting in your ear right in the beginning of a mission. So I think they're going to bring those characters into much more of a much more engaging conversation with our characters as we play throughout the mission as well.
They did mention that they didn't expect such a I can't think of the word. Such a outcome of us and the characters. They didn't think we'd latch onto the characters as well as we did. We're talking about Toland and those people. I can't think of the word. Shut up.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that they didn't think that we would latch on so hard. They
come thought
on.
We were just, well, I'm talking about the lore characters that are just in the Grimoire cards and honor guns.
You're not talking Eris Morn.
I wanted to
go ahead.
Continue.
I wanted to say that
as cryptic as those Grimoire cards are, like that just makes us thirsty for more. Like for them to kind of, just whet our appetite every single time a new expansion came out with these Grimoire cards, and not give us those answers, for them to kind of say, well, we weren't expecting you guys to latch onto it. It's kind of like, well, you should not have
the way they lured us
underestimated
in with
us
the
as
ARG
much.
stuff in the beginning, like it was all about cryptic stuff.
Imagine if you're like your favorite lore character you play, and he's in the game, and it turns out to be the biggest dick ever. It's like,
From what I can tell, a lot of
you're
lore
my
characters
idol.
are dicks. Like I suspect that of them now, so I don't think I'd be surprised.
I could see why they, as far as like they don't want to put too many eggs in a basket that's not going to float. I don't know where that came from, but like, I don't know, like imagine if people didn't care about any of the lore. Imagine if they didn't get, their door beat down with people saying, why isn't the lore in the game? I want more lore, like I need answers. Like imagine if people were just happy with it. Why put so much emphasis into something that people aren't going to be interested in? But at this point, they've heard the feedback. People want to interact with this more, and the fact that they're bringing Zavala in specifically is really exciting to me in my heart as a Titan. Like I can't wait to see more of what makes him him. Like I want more. I want to know more about him. I want to hear the off the cuff remarks, like when you're learning something, like one of your first jobs, and the manager is a character. The manager of this place where you've gotten your first job is a character. They have certain mannerisms, and they do certain things that are funny or illegal, and you remember that. And I think that's something like this, like in Destiny, my first point of contact, and talking to these people. What are their mannerisms? Who are they? Are they nice? Are they rude?
When you were saying illegal, were you thinking of Kdub?
I don't want to ruin it for the people out there who haven't gotten that far. Like maybe they're going to add this in, But yeah, so I don't know. It's exciting that they're bringing this to where it needs to be, and I'm excited to see what they think the response was. Like last week when I asked you guys if you were going to be buying the $20 expansion pack. And each of you said, it was really small and quiet. Each of you said yes, and it was awesome to hear that, because in my mind that means that Bungie did get to the root of something there. It may not have been the perfect answer. It could have been cheaper, or there could be more, or it could be just given out to people because we love you. But it sounded to me like they had correctly read a situation, and so for them to have figured out, or in their minds have figured out, where they could improve upon, it's an exciting thing. And I also wanted to make mention of the fact that I kind of think Bungie shot themselves in their own foot in regards to the story of Destiny, because so when I first started playing Destiny, I was really into the story. I was really into what was going on around me, but this was because I was playing by myself. I noticed that when I play with friends, I'm not really listening to the story. Like they're saying like, oh, I got to go to the bathroom, or I got to walk my dog, or, check this out. Because I was with this group of friends, I wasn't paying attention so much to the story. So I'm curious to know what cues they took from that. Because seriously, playing by myself, I totally get into the story. I totally am there. Playing with a group of friends, I have the TV turned down in comparison so I can hear my friends, and it completely removes me. So they've shot themselves in the foot by making such a great multiplayer game. Instead of having it be something like, oh well, this could be multiplayer. The game is so much better with multiple people that it's good job, you guys. How are they going to do that? How are they going to distract you from your own fire team?
By giving you new dialogue for your Dinklebot.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I will go along with that.
Honestly, like the mission should feel like that live action video we seen before the game launched.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Like, do you remember the live action trailer that we seen?
Space Turtle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not that. Like that one? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm just saying the rapport that you should have with your teammates, and that should be the story that I would be telling.
Okay,
I'll give you your best.
Agree.
Go ahead.
Like they would give us.
I heard a number of people say that they wish during a cutscene that they could just see the other people in their fire team with them. That would immerse them that much more. Yes. Like there's a lot of other games you'll have, even if you're not playing with other real people. Like in the cutscenes, it'll pull back into a more intimate, shot or just a tiny interaction between like two of the Guardians on the same team, like evaluating the situation. But at no point does this. You're very much a bystander so far in Destiny.
Could be an extension of like whenever you have your team together for Trials of Osiris or PvP matches, and you have them all strike that heroic pose right before the match starts and crap like that. Just something like that, I would think would be enough to just kind of at least be able to see everybody, because it gives you that camaraderie sense, like you were saying. Right. Jazz, give me your best impression of Watts, please.
I don't think I have an impersonation of Watts.
Does somebody speak Space Turtle?
That was pretty good.
Oh, thanks. It was terrible.
I think you need to lower your pitch a bit.
I don't know.
Does somebody speak Space Turtle? No, I can't do
it. Thanks for doing that, though.
Things move slower in Canada, apparently. I thought your pitch was dead on. Okay, so where were we? Let's get back to that.
We were at new exotic weapons, exotic armor, and exotic quest lines.
Got it.
I think we knew that all was coming. The Dreadnought, a full new destination with unique secrets, rituals, and treasures to uncover. So rituals stands out to me in this line here.
Yep.
They've mentioned kind of puzzles and secrets to kind of figure out, and I wonder if this doesn't point toward that sort of stuff.
Taking light from the Traveler again.
I think what it means is we're going to see another level with 3 wizards just standing around something.
3 taken wizards.
I think that they're going more along the line of like what would you consider ritual in your gaming time? Like River, you play with that Twisted a lot. Do you guys do something like, is there like a victory lap you guys do, or like, watch this, I'm gonna golden gun this guy like I always do? Like, is there? This is where I think that they're going. I think that this isn't so much a thing as it is. It's something you do. Mm-hmm. And I'm only thinking on these lines because before we realized that there was the Taken as a person, as a thing, we were thinking that it was an action. The Taken King, it wasn't the Taken King. So mm-hmm. I could see this going in that direction too. Especially after watching the there was, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyone else?
So, no. The only ritual that I've found that I picked up ever since House of Wolves dropped is during the Fallen and Vex Prison of Elders sections. I'll carry that ball with me back to the middle room.
That's funny.
And the goal is to try to keep it and put it in the treasure room.
Interesting. I like that.
That's pretty funny.
I kind of saw it as the rituals of the NPCs, or the characters that you see on screen. Like when we see the ones that are praying to the witches or whatever. I kind of saw that. I kind of read it as that, but it's pretty open to interpretation, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
When I read it, it made me think of, in an article recently, I wish I could have found it. I was looking for it for the show. It was something where they implied that there would be like puzzles to solve, like kind of in the open while you're exploring the Dreadnought, like secrets to discover, kind of along those lines. And when I read rituals, it made me think of like when you have to build the bridge in like the raid or something. If they worked like mechanics like that, like you found a plate out in the wild that just seemed to do something, so then you'd have to coordinate teammates to try to uncover secrets. That's what made me think of rituals, like standing on plates and things.
Well, that's exciting.
Well, the other option is it could be just like the random events that aren't tied to like events actually. Like when it spawned a sword bearer.
Oh, there we go.
Right. Like, it was the context that made me think that, too, because it says in that sentence, the Dreadnought, a full new destination. So it's talking about the new destination. Then it mentions unique secrets, rituals, and treasures to uncover. Rituals is sandwiched right between unique secrets and treasures to uncover. So it made me think that that applied to that.
Interesting. Moving on.
Moving on. A new breed of enemy combatants, the Taken, armed with new abilities and weapons.
Okay, wait. Let me pause you right there. I want to go down the line and see what you guys think of this. Do you feel, Kdub, that this is a new species, a new enemy, or do you feel like this is just reskinned BS? Because I see a lot of this in the forums. I see a lot of this, like people are talking about that this isn't actually new. My take, really quickly, is that they are absolutely new, and they may be, reskinned, but I feel like because they're not just a more powerful version of what they already do, that they're new. And I just want to really quickly go down the line. Kdub, what are your thoughts on this?
It's a little of both. So it's only like it was as far as a reskin in the shape that they look like. So a Cabal looks like a Cabal, a Scion looks like a Scion.
So it's really the opposite of a reskin. It's not really reskinned. It's gutted and rebuilt.
Right, but the way that they act, the way that they react, and the way that they react to you and the abilities that they have are completely different. So they're not going to fight like they normally did. So it may look like a Scion, but guess what? When it splits in two and eats your face, it's really not a Scion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little of both. People are saying it's a reskin because the Cabal dude that's coming after you still looks like a Cabal. But guess what? When it doesn't fight like a Cabal, you're going to go, oh, wait, crap, that's not a Cabal. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Agrios.
I couldn't agree with Kdub more. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. They've been gutted and refilled. So rather than like just a reskin enemy, which I think a lot of people, when I think of that, I think of other enemies that everybody acts the same in a game. It just looks different. It's like you're fighting the same thing the whole way through, and they just look like different things. Whereas this is the complete opposite. It looks similar with a different coloring, but from what I can tell, these are completely different enemies. I mean, they don't act anything like the enemies that I've seen fighting. Right. I was just talking with Sharks, actually, while we were in Prison of Elders, how annoying the new Scions are going to be, because Scions are really kind of just a cast-aside thing that never really amounted to anything so far, but when you're dealing with like 6 yellow ones surrounding you on a level 34 or 35 Prison of Elders, they're not really a joke anymore. And then and if they run away, you know what I mean? If you're in a swarm of enemy type situation, as soon as an enemy takes damage, it goes to run away. Well, now these not only going to run away, they're going to run away and hide. And by the time you catch up to them and find them around the corner, there's going to be 4 of them standing there instead of the one that got away.
Jez.
So, yeah, different animal.
I think Retro Studios, the makers of Metroid Prime 2, should sue for copyright. No, I think it's like a reskin on their AI too. They probably act a lot more erratic than their normal foes.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be quite different in general.
Right, because I come from a period of time where Mortal Kombat, where all they did was change the color palette, but then the moves were different as well. So it's, I could definitely see kind of both.
Crimson Warlock. Ermac is definitely a reskin of Scorpion.
The way I see it is this is all the enemies that we've encountered with a +1 modifier to them. Like, that's just kind of how I see it. Is they're gonna the +1 means that they're gonna have obviously the higher stats and armor to deal with us leveling up as Guardians, but they're gonna have a new ability that we're not used to, and that's just how I see it. Like, coming from a tabletop gaming standpoint, you see a lot of that type of stuff happen in campaigns a lot, where, well, I've dealt with this enemy before, but it has these new tricks about it, and so it's a little different. And that's how I see it, but I'm excited to see how much different it is.
I feel like it's going to be exciting in that we really don't know what these things are going to do or how they're going to react, and I feel like they did a really great job of explaining why they were doing that. The fact that these people were taken from our universe and then replaced. Like that makes a lot of sense, and as story wise, like my brain will suspend that disbelief for that. River.
Sounds like we're all in agreement.
Excellent.
That's it.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Excellent. All right, moving on.
An increased level cap and new ways for your Guardian to grow more powerful. The most substantial injection of new, unique, and redesigned weapons, armor, and talents to date. New subclasses with all new supers and abilities. So I think this is a good point to talk about this here. Previously, we hadn't gone through quite all the information, but we also know that the Taken King is going to expand upon the weapon foundries like Soros, Amalon, and how do you say that last one? Hake? I think that's how you say it.
Hake, sure. Yep.
And each foundry will have its own collection of weapons, unified by a distinctive visual style and common attributes. How do you think the new foundries are going to play into things? And do you think the Taken are going to be immune to all our current weapons that don't have a light stat?
River.
Wait, we're talking about light stats?
Okay, so
weren't those placeholders?
I said, how do you think the foundries are going to play into the new structure of the new weapon systems? Like if they'll have, unique abilities.
Yeah, but whatnot. Then you
and do you
mentioned light
think the
stats.
Taken are going to be immune to all of our weapons that don't have a light stat?
Okay, so you know what he's talking about, right? It was for that Suros rocket launcher that had that light 42 or 34, whatever it was.
Oh no, that's just a placeholder, man.
Okay,
light
so
that's not a thing.
Okay, so I could see both of these. I could see these arguments. Crimson Warlock. Do you think that was just a placeholder, or do you think that there's going to be a new element, light, that you can have placed on a weapon or that comes with the weapon?
So I'm pretty sure somebody confirmed that it was just a placeholder, but to me,
Luke Smith.
Yeah, Luke Smith did, sure. But like to me, if they were adding like a new elemental damage type, that's going to that would kind of knock out their little triad of themes that they have going. So I don't think we'll see that until Destiny 2 if they decide to add a new elemental type. And plus, like I hope that light levels isn't tied to weapons as well, because that would just make the grind awful every time you got like a new weapon you wanted to level up as well as new armor or something, I feel. So I'm hoping
that... So then you have to go buy more Red Bull.
The same way as it is with armor.
Yeah. So anyway, I am as with the Taken, I'm sure just like with other enemies, you'll find out which weapons work best against which enemy types and try and prepare for those type of situations.
Jez, do you have confirmation or otherwise on whether that was indeed spoken by Luke Smith, or at least spoken that was just placeholder settings?
Well, a lot of the levels on them were placeholder, but I think it's just a restructuring of the way it shows the attack of the weapon.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. And instead of, wondering like, 331 or 365 or whatever the new one is.
Yeah, like that's going to exponentially just climb, and then we're going to be like, oh, well, look at this gun. It's only got 24,000 attack.
Right.
It's you're running into numbers that are just way too large. Just tie into the level. Be like,
right.
Okay, it's easy to hit a level 42 character with a 42 gun.
Right. Kdub, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I got two things to throw in there. Number one, did you already say the exotic quest part, Agrios?
Yes.
In the update? Okay, so the exotic quests were interesting to me because That's where we got like Thorn and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right, and that's where we get like the Queensbreaker's bow currently and stuff.
Correct. So these exotic quests, this might be the beginning of balance. So is there going to be a new Thorn? Is there going to be another weapon that everybody's like, oh, that thing's OP, and that's going to start a whole new?
Possibly.
It's a sidearm, or it's a whatever, right?
Well,
and then the next part, right? And then the next part is there was something in there that says the most substantial injection of new, unique, and new redesigned weapons, armor, and talent. So all these new redesigned weapons, is this the way that they balance it without saying, oops, we went too far with nerfing auto rifles? Here's all this new stuff that's overpowered, and now it's balanced more?
No, because then you're getting into power creep.
Well, I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate. I'm just saying, is that the kind of the way that they start with the balance in injecting new weapons, and then people start with that, and then they can kind of work on the meta and balancing things out? Is that the way that it's going to go, do you think, or what are your thoughts?
Hope not.
That's kind of always how it goes. It's kind of like, let's try to get it as stable as possible, throw some new things in, find out what's not working right, and then stabilize that. It's not like they
do a blanket armor buff.
This is more like, this is like the same type of thing that we got last expansion. They're just throwing a whole bunch of weapons at us, except this time they're also throwing specific to certain companies, and I think that's more to do with just how it looks, and like the particular focuses on stats. Like one weapon might focus on impact.
That's
kind of
like
how the original vendor gear used to focus on, oh well, this one is all intellect and strength, and this one is all this.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up. They've mainly talked about the new foundries in regards to weapons, but I've noticed on several pieces of the concept art that like helmets now say like Hake on them across it. So do you think that we're going to get unique profiles from each of these foundries? Like, for instance, most of the weapons have 3 different frames. There's the high impact model, the high rate of fire model, and the balanced model. Do you think each one of these foundries is going to have a specialization like that, or do you think it's just design?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that. Like Tex Machina, the people that make Last Word are probably going to be your high rate of fire group of people.
I don't know. I mean, we've got like the new Suros rocket launcher coming, right, and different weapons like that. So you could be rocking that Suros emblem, have all Suros weapons. I mean, you could kind of go to a weapon manufacturer and kind of represent them, kind of like you do your faction.
Yeah, but do you think Suros is going to have a pulse rifle that's a high rate of fire and an auto rifle that's a high impact? Or do you think they're just going to sync them up?
All right. Hold on there, Jez. Stop talking like that. You're going to give me a heart attack because that sounds awesome. That sounds so awesome. Thinking about going to this one. Like I love Suros. I love the idea of Suros. I love the style of Suros. I would outfit myself in Suros like nobody's business. So stop that right now.
And you bring up a good point, Remy. Is that if the armor itself for each of these foundries have like a unique profile to them, a really unique look, this is going to be great for those people who want to go hunt for those different armor pieces. Like you do that, don't you, Remy, with some of that rare gear?
Totally.
I do.
Totally. It's fun and it's exciting, and
it looks cool.
Not only that, Fulcrum set.
It's like there's a lateral upgrade there. Like I feel like right now the top of the chain is you can dress yourself from Varix, which basically looks like you went to a junkyard and took a bunch of like heater hoses off the radiator and attached it to like other things. And I'm not even trying to knock that. I love the look. Or you can look like an Egyptian prince, or you can what was the other one? Oh, that's it. Those are the 34s, right? Oh no, but there's also Iron Banner. So like I don't know, just having other avenues of gaining
Iron
these
Banner
levels.
looks like hooker boots.
right. What is even up with that? I mean, they're going to look really good when you're flying through the air with a bow and arrow, because they're also kind of like swashbuckling D&D.
Like pirate boots.
Yeah.
Why is that guy on the A flag dancing on the flag?
Yeah,
with those boots.
Distracting. He's trying to distract the other team.
By the way, if you're so obsessed with Suros, you should take a look at the Omlon stuff. They got like liquid ammo.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I definitely cannot say bad things about that. Liquid ammo sounds awesome. What's that, River?
Oh, I was gonna be like, that's it. Moving on.
Moving on. I like it. You know what? Actually, I wanted to bring up something right now. There's this Mr. Bach 3000 in the chat. I had posted a picture of a non-elemental primary on Twitter, and he replied to me with this, and he says, "Hey, not to be a dick, but what's the point of non-elemental primaries? Like if elemental primaries are just as good as or better, why even use this?" And I didn't have an answer other than I just want to. Like when I pick up a new weapon, like I don't care if it's elemental or not. I'll try it out. It's like riding a motorcycle or a car. Every car feels different. Even cars that are right off the assembly line, right next to each other. Every car is different. And so I wanted to ask you guys right here, starting with River. What do you say to that? What do you say when somebody says, "What's the point of using this?" Because he's right. I could use an elemental primary, and even if it's not the element that I'm fighting against, it still works just as good as a kinetic, right? So what do you say to that?
Right, and you're right in that aspect, but you only really need elemental damage whenever you're going PvE style. So whenever you're going into the Crucible or the Iron Banner, elements no longer matter then, so you just kind of go with what's best, which is Thorn.
It matters when you're shooting a blade, but it matters when you're shooting a Blade Dancer, or
Does
it matters when you're sure it does. He's Arc.
I've heard. I think I heard Luke Smith say that it doesn't matter in Crucible.
Yeah, I've heard conflicting reports of that.
Yeah, I have too.
If you think to be kind of fair, so that you're not like overpowered with your elemental freaking shield, I would think that it's kind of more. It doesn't matter.
I would hope so. I would like to get confirmation because I know that when I'm in trials, I use a solar Fellwinter's Lie for when the Sunsinger reses.
Oh, Fellwinter's Lie, you say? Okay.
Solar Fellwinter's Lie.
Fellwinter's Lie.
The shotgun part is more important.
Well, that
Fellwinter's Lie.
Crimson Warlock, what do you think about this?
Just kind of what you were saying, Remy. There's times when, whether I'm in PvP or PvE, I want to play with a different exotic that I normally don't play with, and so that's what I do. I stash my Galahorn or my Icebreaker away, and I put on an exotic primary that I haven't played with for a while, and it's like, I didn't think it had a place, but after playing with it for a while, yeah, I could see a place for this one or with any of them, honestly. And so I think a lot of it comes down to, yeah, just kind of what you said. If that's the style of gameplay you want to do or the style of car you want to drive, then go for it. I mean, especially in PvE, even if there are burns and you don't really care. I mean, I've done Nightfalls where there's arc burns or void burns, and I didn't want to use my primary of that type, and I was like, I just want to do Hawkmoon right now, so I did. And it's just up to player preference, and I'm hoping that soon, with the Taken King, we do get a lot of maybe some rebalancing issues, so there aren't I guess the metas aren't as locked into certain weapon types and exotic weapons as we see now.
Jez.
Sorry, I was kind of researching the elemental damage in PvP question, so I'm slightly not sure what was talked about currently.
That's right. I was reading the chat while you were talking just now, so I don't know how far back I need to go to explain it to you.
Not very far back, just what was the
so
topic.
just what you were researching right there, like how do you respond to someone who's asking about the primary damage?
just to recap, this Mr. Bach 3000, and don't apologize, 3000, because it's something that I found interesting enough to want to bring up on the show. Like it's a good question, and I didn't have a good answer for it. I feel like I just want to wasn't a good enough answer, and I wanted to get these guys in on it. So Jez, primary weapons with an elemental are clearly superior in at least 1 out of 3 situations. And so what is the point of using / keeping / desiring elemental or primaries that don't have elementals on them?
Well, I think it depends on what you're going up against.
That's what other people have said as well.
Yeah, like if you know that you're not needed, you don't need that element that you have, sure, use your white weapon.
And also, all the races only take 2 shield types. Like, there's no third shield type to any of the races, so you never need more than 2 elemental types going against any of the races. So as long as you have heavy ammo, you can take care of those 2 elemental types for the few shields that you come against in those 2 slots. So as far as, say, like rocking a Hawkmoon, like Crimson said, that's a very awesome weapon anyway. If you're fighting, say the Hive, you're going to want Solar and Arc, so as long as you got, your Gallahorn or Hunger or whatever equipped, and along with like an Arc Sniper or something, you can take care of any shields that come along and not have to worry about your primary being that specific element.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the Taken, each of those races of the Taken, their shields were the ones that aren't present on any of the normal ones?
Well, they could have, like, any shield if they want to. Like, they could have a
that
shield
like that Broken Legion dude.
Yeah, they might have shields that changes.
Calibrate, yeah.
Agrios, did you answer this question?
No, I think I pretty much what everyone said and what I have added to their conversations as we went sums up my feelings.
Kdub?
It should be noted, though, that we haven't seen any of the shields on the Taken guys, have we?
I was going to comment on that. I wasn't 100%, but that was also what was making me thinking that you needed the light to damage them, backdooring that question.
I don't think we've seen any Taken units that currently have shields either. Like, Scions don't have shields unless it's the Epic modifier.
You know what would be crazy is if you hit them with the wrong element, you recharged their shields, or you gave them shields, or you gave them health. That would be crazy. That would be somebody on your team is using Arc and refilling all of these enemies' life / shields. Time to get some.
That would be skull.
Hell.
What were you saying, Kdub?
Well, that's where the whole light placeholder thing speculation came from. Is because nobody saw them with a solar shield or nobody saw them with a void shield. They just see them as black and this darkness, and they're like, oh, and they see this thing with a placeholder that says light on the weapon, and that's where this whole speculation came from to begin with, right? So we don't really know for sure, but we'll see, right?
Part of what made me speculate on this too was the fact that some of the articles I read from the various places that went in and got to play the first Taken King mission or whatever at E3. Some of them described their experience. They landed on the planet, and Commanders of Olive was talking to them, and they come across the Cabal fighting the Taken, and were unable to hurt the Taken, and so you go from there.
Right. Okay. So Expat says in the chat, what if they were kinetic? What if you had to hit them with kinetic weapons, like hitting them with an elemental weapon didn't do anything? So,
I thought light might be the new version of kinetic on just the new weapons, though, and this would be one way they would make our older weapons no longer relevant.
Mm-hmm. Right, or they'd have to introduce an entirely new line of sniper rifles and second special and heavy weapons that don't have an element in it. And I think it makes more sense to just add a new element.
Yeah, because before you open that rabbit hole, where am I going to put all those weapons exactly?
Yeah,
that's the next question. Yeah,
totally.
See, you
have to choose which one to Kdub.
In my mind, if I were to create this type of mechanic, I would have like the Taken show up in a mission and you not be able to hurt them, so you have to run from them, and then the next mission you learn how to hurt them.
I like it. I like that a lot. That
That's
sounds
about
like great. I'm looking forward to that.
like there's just more missions that, like story wise, tell you how you can hurt them.
I like that a lot.
Probably when you learn to do
actually, there's an article that describes kind of what you're talking about and how it's going to go down. I can explain it if you guys want to.
Do it.
So what's going to happen? This is in the article that I talked about last podcast about the story. But the mission on Phobos is going to take you room by room through at least the Cabal Taken, and you're going to experience the new Taken in these circular rooms where you can't really hide behind cover, and you're just going to have to see how these enemies react to you and learn how to take them out. So it's the first level is kind of like a tutorial with each of the new Taken Cabal enemy types.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Anyone else on this? Moving on.
All right, so we're going to have new cooperative strikes with unique and dynamic new boss battles. Redesigned and reimagined strikes, the Dust Palace, Undying Mine, and now they mentioned the Cerberus Bay 3 are all overrun by the Taken. Now, previously, we had learned that there's going to be a time-exclusive strike as well. And they involve... I lost my place here. Sorry, one second. The Vex have laid siege to time itself, attempting to unravel your once decisive victory against Skyron from the Destiny Strike, the Nexus. And the Vex are constructing a time bridge to call the Nexus mind from the past in order to execute a terrible future. So that's the description we got for the exotic strike, Echo Chamber. Now, we originally heard about the new strike versions, them being overtaken by the Taken. When Deej confirmed that all the Destiny PlayStation exclusive content up to date will become available for Xbox users on day one of the Taken King. So do you think, or are we still going to have the old versions of these strikes accessible? Or are these just simply the way these strikes will be from now on is covered by the Taken?
Okay, so number one, this is super exciting. The idea of them updating and changing these strikes, these things that we've played, no less than tens of times. That's really exciting. And I was actually thinking that same thing because I'm trying to imagine what it's like to be a new Guardian right now, and having these level 28 wolves running around, like, that's dangerous. That's the Destiny that I wanted from the very beginning. I always felt safe in Moth Yards. I always felt safe in the Divide. And now these guys show up that you're not going to beat them. They're question marks to people who are starting out. So that's exciting. I think the way they're going to do it is I think that the strike will remain original. Like so when you're going through the levels and here's your level 7, Fogoth or whatever. I think that like those ones. Oh, you know what though? These ones are all later in the game, right? Dust Palace, Undying Mine, Cerberus.
Let me ask you a question. Aren't these the 3 strikes that everybody hates?
Yes.
So in order to make people play them, they overrun them with Taken, and they go, "Oh, let's go check them out now," right? So it's a way to play the stuff that's been there that nobody likes, and maybe they changed it up because nobody plays them, right?
Well, currently, when you go to play the strikes, they don't have levels to choose from. You just go into the strike, it's locked at that level, that's the way it is. If you want to play a different level strike, you got to go to the right playlist. What Remy's saying is, do you think that now you'll have the option to either just take the regular on... I think you'll have to have the option to take the regular on-level strike or the Taken strike, because otherwise, how are new Guardians coming up through the levels going to play those strikes as they come past them?
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. That's actually been confirmed that we're going to have both versions available to us.
Yeah. Oh, it is confirmed. Okay.
Yes, that has been confirmed. I'm trying to look for the article right now, but I did see that, and it has been confirmed that we'll have the normal version of the strikes as well as to be able to select the new version with the Taken involved.
Another good thing about this is it means, in addition to the new strikes, this is another 6 strikes that is going to be added to the Nightfall playlist.
Pretty much.
I think that's exciting. I think this is exciting. All of this is exciting. Choices are exciting, and remixed things are exciting.
Variety.
Like, I can't even imagine. I mean, it has to be, for the most part, completely different, because you can't be talking about the same things in these that you were talking about before. Like the way the story rolls out. You know, like it can't. If you want to put it in the chat, then I can put it up on the screen, or you can just read it out loud.
There you go.
No, it's right there.
So, what do you think about this Crimson Warlock?
You know, I was thinking to myself before River said it was confirmed. You know what? You can't find Sword Blades of Crota anymore, and when the Taken King comes out, we won't find wolves running around anymore. And so, if those strikes changed, you know, that's just the game evolving. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad that the older versions are still accessible, especially for the Xbox people who haven't seen what the Dust Palace is actually like or played it, and just those kind of exclusive ones that are becoming unlocked. So it's good to see both of them, and it's also, you know, kind of nice to see more strikes. You know, again, even if they are reskins, there's still newer activities that we haven't done. I mean, as much as I dislike the Dust Palace, and any sort of burn on that strike is probably going to be a little infuriating with the Scions. Like, it's still going to be fun to have a newer strike that hasn't been in the list before.
Yeah, this is cool. This is cool, and it allows them to reuse the assets that they already have, you know, the areas, and it's continuing the story. He says, we want you to experience the Undying Mind completely as it was with the Vex, and also in the Takenified version. We wanted to make it feel like more than last year's model. This is really cool, and I accept this as valid. I don't feel like this is a bad thing. Where were we? What's that?
Well, I was going to say, I see now why I read it is because they were talking about the soon to be previously exclusive strikes that the PlayStation Nation had, and how, you know, if they only had the Takeified version available to everybody whenever the Taken King comes out, then how would Xbox players be able to do those strikes as they were before they were even available to them?
Totally. And then on the other hand, once all of these new strikes become, quotation mark, new strikes become available to Xbox, those are already things that PlayStation people have been playing forever, so they don't really care about it. So it's a way of balancing it out for everyone that I think is really awesome. I think it's really awesome. So was that it? Was anything else on this we needed to talk about?
Yes. Next, they mentioned the Crucible multiplayer.
Hold on a second.
Or you mean on this same topic? Sorry,
yeah,
I thought you meant on this list.
Additionally, okay, we're going to give out a trivia question real quick, and then somebody right now will receive a poster for Kdub, from Kdub.
We're gonna do the Titan poster first.
The Titan poster first. Oh, I totally already answered that question. My address is.
Great. I got my cursor in the chat box. I'm ready.
Right. Okay.
Remy, you got to come up with a question, and whoever answers it right first. In North America, I will ship for free.
What do you got, River? Do you have a trivia question?
I mean, I could come up with something.
You know, I all the time think of cool things that would be for trivia questions, but I don't ever write them down because we don't ever give anything away.
I mean, I could go back to like episode 1 of Guardian 1 if you really want.
Give him a Guardian 1 trivia question? Oh man,
it could be anything.
Because that's really hard. I mean, doing something like that.
I thought we were just giving him a Destiny trivia question.
I mean, we could do a Destiny one.
Anything. Just whip something out there, Remy. Come on. First thing off the top of your head. Doesn't have to be mine.
Yeah, this is not going to work. Crimson Warlock, you got a trivia question?
I got nothing.
Oh, okay.
I have one too, but...
Well, we'll use Kdub's and then we'll use yours. Unless Kdub had another way of giving away that second poster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be as easy as just picking the if anybody knows the state that somebody on the panel lives in, or something. I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be really, really easy.
It's too stalkery.
Huh?
It's too stalkery.
Come on, I actually really like that one. That one's a pretty good one.
All right. What about what state does River live in? Because that's always a surprise to me.
Oh, you got to put that in the chat though.
What state does River live in?
Right. Let's do that. It's much better not in the chat because now they're gonna have to listen for it. You know, they still got like 30 seconds before they hear that.
Because then they just reply in the chat room.
Oh, okay. So it's live. So River has asked, what state does River live in? Wolf Bible says North Carolina.
Well, it's not North Carolina.
Not North Carolina.
No.
All right. A second guess, also North Carolina. Third guess, Mexico. Fourth guess, Kentucky. Fifth guess, Oklahoma. Oh.
That's it. Freaking Lawn Boy.
Oklahoma? Is that right?
Yeah. SDF Lawn Boy is in my clan. He already knows this because he went to my wedding. Check you out, fool.
You know what, though? I'll accept that.
Right? Nobody else has
Nice.
even come close to Oklahoma. Agrio says Alaska, and then Guatemala.
River, you gotta get me Lawn Boy's address, and I'll send it.
Right. Congratulations, Lawn Boy. Right place, right time. Titan poster.
No way.
All right.
That was fun fact. That was actually the class that he rolled up first for Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know,
I still got a Warlock one. I'm gonna give the Warlock one away later.
We should have Lawn Boy on the show sometime because as someone who is not, totally enthralled with Destiny, it would be cool to get his opinions on what it could do to bring his attention to it. Because I also have friends like Preston. He was on the show and he's not really interested in Destiny. Probably about as much as Lawn Boy is. So so it'll be cool to have him on the show sometime. So all right. Getting back to where we were we, Agrios?
Oh, we were just about to talk about some Crucible stuff. Previously, they had announced new maps coming with the Taken King: Frontier, Bannerfall, Crossroads, and exclusive to the PlayStation, Sector 618. Sector 618 takes place within the Cosmodrome Wall. It fell long ago to a fallen house of devils. It has now been reclaimed by the city. The beams and walkways of the wall's interior are all in dangerous disrepair, thus an ideal location for the Crucible's grueling games. And they previously announced two different new Crucible modes. The first is Mayhem, a Crucible event in which cooldowns for all abilities, including supers, are boosted to insane levels, low as 30 seconds to get your super. Rift is Destiny's answer to Capture the Flag. It represents another addition to objective-based PvP that the game is lacking. The objective is to claim a neutral spark, and upon receiving it, take it to the opposing team's Rift within 2 minutes to slam it home for capture points. All the while, you have to keep an eye out for your enemies and kill them with extreme prejudice, especially when protecting your own Rift or guarding the runner with the spark.
Have we talked about this yet?
No, this was the stuff that we were. I just covered the stuff that we had missed previously because we ran out of time. And then this week they mentioned that the new Crucible multiplayer maps with new Crucible modes, including the previously revealed Rift of Mayhem, implying that there will also be additional modes.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, so Kdub, Rift or Mayhem, which one are you most interested in?
Dude, Mayhem all the way. That thing is going to be ridiculous.
Agrios.
Apples and oranges, really. I'm pretty interested in them both, but Mayhem sounds like a lot of fun.
I agree. It is definitely apples and oranges. Jez.
I'm an objective-based player, so Rift.
Rift, definitely. Crimson Warlock.
I'm really looking forward to Mayhem because I love to dunk people with my super.
River.
Rift.
Okay, so I would say adding myself to this, I'm probably more interested in Rift, but I'll probably end up playing Mayhem more, just because they absolutely are apples and oranges. But I'm excited about them both. But I feel like Mayhem will be the one that will be. It will be just so much easier on the playing it part. Like with Rift, teamwork is absolutely key. You know, like you're not going to be able to get to the objective if you don't have people who are covering you. So I feel like Mayhem will definitely be the one that I will just jump into without thinking about it, and Rift will be the one that I will want to play when I have a team of people who want to succeed.
You know what? The thing about Mayhem, though, which is going to be really, really interesting, is how supers interact with each other. So, for instance, the new Hunter subclass, right, with the Void Bow, and it's nullifying supers, and it's tethering people together so they can't move, and the different teamwork and dynamics that can go along with different supers and different things that you can do with, this guy's got a Titan bubble, this guy's shooting a Void Bow, this guy's doing electric. It's going to be really interesting to see if somebody comes up with a method. I mean, we had the old thing with the infinite bubble situation, right? That was going on for a bit that people figured out. So it's going to be interesting to see if different methods come up with different supers and how they work together and against each other, and to see what comes out of that. I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
It's going to be a lot of delayed reaction, like the trapping of the Void Hunter combined with a Nova Bomb or a Fist of Havoc.
Right.
Really. It's just going to be like those two just off on their own, setting up a choke point.
It's funny because I have talked about and thought about the idea of a match with no supers, just getting down to the gunplay. And it really sounds like the majority of this is going to be getting down to the supers, which is exactly the opposite. And I think it sounds really fun. I want to give everybody an opportunity to speak their minds on this before we move on. So, River, do you got anything to add to this?
No, I really don't.
Crimson Warlock?
Not really. No, I'm excited to play both of them. I really do. So, as long as we can maybe see a few less specific exotic weapons in Crucible, that might be nice.
Agrios, or no, Jez.
Well, I think you're gonna not like a lot of people that like PvP in general and like it at a more competitive level are not gonna like Mayhem very much,
right?
Because it's gonna be super swingy.
Yeah.
And
it's a party game. Basically.
It is a party game.
It's a party thing.
The first thing that I thought of is, Remy, when you, me, and Agrios, we Q-synced the other day and we were playing against each other.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that and we're playing against each other and we're in the same party chat and it's Mayhem.
Totally.
It would be ridiculous, dude.
Totally.
So fun.
Agrios. We lost Agrios.
Sorry, I was under mute. Sorry. I think it's going to be interesting the way that the new modes are going to make you take a look at your weapon and armor loadouts and the new strategies required to be successful in them. Like the way the supers are powering up, I was discussing the other day. Like I'm not sure how useful. Is it just supers or is it all abilities power up?
All abilities.
All abilities. That's what I thought. So I don't know how useful secondary grenades are going to be and things like that as far as using your abilities for that, because if you're going to have another grenade in a couple seconds anyway, what's the point of having two grenades?
You obviously didn't play very much Halo. Because the 2 grenade sprint is a specialty. You don't even see the dudes. You just throw both of them down that hallway and then you run the other direction, or you double down. You double down in that direction. So I kind of see where you're going with this, but I'm a 2 grenade guy. I need the first one. I need to throw the first one to get an idea of where this one's going to go, and then I compensate from there.
I feel like Mayhem will end up being very hit and run tactics. Like it's going to be get in there, find the enemy, and drop your super, and get out alive as quickly as possible, and very kind of a very different play style than what we're used to.
So, is there still going to be orbs? Will people still drop orbs? Or is this all going to happen on a very similar timeline? Do we know?
I don't know that.
Well, they never really mentioned orbs, so I would imagine that maybe it would still drop orbs just like normal, just everything is sped up a lot more.
I know I've watched a lot of that gameplay, and now that I'm thinking of it, I don't remember seeing orbs flying everywhere.
Right, I don't remember seeing orbs either, but that might just be because they're not on my radar because I wasn't playing and I wasn't looking for orbs.
Right. I don't know. Right.
Well, the feed still would say generated 8 orbs or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I could see them leaving the orbs out. If it turns around, if the turnout is that fast, I could see them just leaving it out.
I think it would be no orb, because if you're reloading that fast, it would just be infinite. You would always be super.
It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. I've really been waiting for a playlist like this, something that is just fun. Like
AKTC says orbs dropped at E3. So
okay, so then that's just going to speed it up even faster. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, and I'm going to love it.
Mayhem.
All right. Anyone else on this? Moving on.
Did we say that maybe there's the possibility that there's going to be more multiplayer modes than Rift and Mayhem? Did we touch on that?
Yeah, that's what we started it with.
Okay,
the way they phrase it in the weekly update implies that there'll be more than just those 2 modes.
Yep, sounds good to me. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
So what do you want, River? If they've announced
no exotics.
Objective? Oh, you do want to know exotics. Interesting. Anything else?
More than one-man vehicles?
Private matches?
Yeah.
Private matches?
Probably. Oh, maybe those.
Crimson Warlock?
I would definitely like to see a legendary or lower mode. That would be fun to see. But
man, legendary or lower, that would be crazy. Like
rare
uncommon
mode.
A rare mode, an uncommon mode, like that would be so cool in my eyes. I mean, again, I've deleted almost all of this sweet uncommon and rare gear that I've got. There's really only a few things that I've got that are still rare, but that would be so much fun. I mean, I don't know where we're going to put this, and the people listening to this probably also don't have much room in their vault. But it would be fun. It would be fun to take out those pieces of gear and have them actually mean something. This is my uncommon loadout. And you're walking around the tower as a 22 or a 24. Like, it would be funny. It would be funny and give those things something to do besides looking cool.
I know this is very non sequitur, but it's still along the same lines. But I want to see them add Dados challenge modes into the raids somehow.
Blindfolded?
maybe not so much.
It's an honor system. I'm really blindfolded. Believe me.
Well, no jumping.
They could do
take a blanket
X weapon only. You can only use fusion rifles, and that's the only thing that you can equip or something.
No HUD.
Yeah, no heads up. That'd be crazy. Jez.
I'm not sure. I got distracted.
Additional game modes. I feel like them adding at least Mayhem and Rift to the game is going to be a very, very, very pleasant turn of events. I think that it's going to be.
Yeah, I think they're also going to use these as base modes to build on. Maybe a Rift that has 2 balls or something.
Oh, I was thinking more along the lines of, so it says Mayhem something or other, a game type, right?
Mayhem be like Inferno.
Could it be Mayhem Control, Mayhem whatever? You know what I mean? That's completely. It would be so easy for them to do, I think.
Oh my god, Mayhem Control.
Do you remember how well Inferno took off? It didn't.
Did it not?
Well, it's just because the meta currently is pretty close quartersy anyways.
If you guys haven't seen Dato's latest video on the current state of PvP, it's really exactly what I've been thinking, and he plays a hell of a lot more PvP than I do, so I can only imagine how frustrating it actually is. I'm frustrated, but I'm not, trying to make a channel out of this frustration. I do this podcast because it's fun, because I love talking about video games, Destiny specifically, but he is playing a ton of this Destiny. It's got to be frustrating. What were you going to say, Jez? I totally cut you off because I'm a jerk.
I don't know. I already forgot what I was talking about.
Outstanding.
Uh,
Outstanding. Agros.
Oh yeah, I was talking
wait.
about like Inferno mode. How no one really likes it because the current meta is very. It's already close quarters, so with no radar, it's even harder for someone to not sneak up behind you with the
Oh
Felwinters.
man, you're totally right. I didn't even think about that, but that totally feeds into that because in my mind, I'm still going off of this. You know, this is fun and it's nice to not be seen. But you're totally right. That dude comes around the corner, you had no idea, and then 20 feet away, you're dead.
It's more like people just don't bother put away the shotguns.
yeah, I was just going to say, Fall Inferno is a bunch of people blinking and shoulder charging, running in a circle with their shotguns.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
When I played it, I put on my MK44 stand aside and just ran around everything.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Excellent. Agrios, a game type that you would like to see added to this.
Well, I'm with everyone else. I'd like to see a no exotics type game type. I think that's others have said it first. I think that's a step toward the MLG perspective if they have any hope of going private matches or anything. And I mean, this is something we've heard in the community, and lots of games have as private matches. So I don't doubt that this may be something on our horizon, possibly even coming with Taken King. And I think the no exotics mode would be perfect for along those lines too, to help promote that sort of MLG type thing.
I think the only reason that people are yearning for a no exotics game mode is just so they don't get shot by freaking Thorn.
Yeah,
I kind of feel that way too.
Well,
honestly,
it really stems from that.
It's almost as though a lot of the exotics intentionally break balance to a degree. Like when you're looking at side-by-side stat comparisons of the profiles of the exotics, like if you go to Planet Destiny, like spreadsheets are real nice for seeing this. They stick out like a sore thumb as being broken just looking at the numbers.
I really wouldn't mind if they came out with a game mode that there was actually like iconic weapons on the map and you started with a cost off.
that would be cool.
Yeah, like COD has that, right? It's I forget what the name of it is. My son plays it a lot, or used to, where you start with a certain gun, then as you get a kill, you get another gun.
You're thinking of gun game.
Yeah, gun game, right?
Well, I'm thinking more like the original Halo method of like having guns on the field and you pick up the gun.
Oh, cool. Yeah, right. Yep.
So you'd be like the quad damage would be the Thorn.
You could even incorporate that into the way Destiny works too, is that you could have guns equipped in each of those categories, but you simply find the icon that gives you access to your gun that's in that slot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wanted to bring this up.
I think that's called the ammo, by the way.
Well, I mean, they could do zero ammo and stuff too, but I mean, you'd have no access to the gun if you couldn't take that, and there'd only be one of those access tokens on the board at any given point type thing, or a limited number of those access tokens on the board, so you wouldn't be able to have a game with everybody having their shotgun out, because right now there's only 2 people that can have their shotgun out, or type thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. This was an interview that Luke Smith did with Kotaku, and they bring up Thorn specifically. Are you going to nerf Thorn? And Smith's answer was, so one of the things that's really good about having a live game that we're able to update a bunch is that we have this freedom that allows us to balance and bring into style and bring out of style different weapons. It says right here that they're able to update it a bunch, but they clearly aren't interested in doing that. Right? So he continues, we want to have different weapons that have different seasons and ages. And quote, this was the time when X was really powerful. When the game shipped, October last year, the regime, Suros, now Suros is but a memory. So I think that a bunch of weapons are on their own journey, and they're all going to get their time in the sun. And this pisses me off.
Yeah,
this pisses me off because this means that they know that Thorn has an insanely low TTK. Like there, and Dato says in this video, the only thing that you are doing by starting your game out with a weapon that's not the last word or Thorn, the only thing you're doing is putting yourself at an instant disadvantage. Like, this is it. The only thing that you are doing by selecting the other options is screwing yourself. What you're saying is that I like to be Oh, I was going to cuss right now, but I kind of don't. But seriously, this pisses me off. You know what? I still use my Suros. So every kill that I get with Suros is like 3 kills with a Thorn. Like I could have killed 3 people with a Thorn. And this just means to me that they recognize that Thorn is running amok and they don't care. Why don't they care? Does this piss any of you guys off? Because I'm furious about this. Like they know what's up. And they're we're gonna let them sunset or whatever. River, what do you think?
I disagree with you, Remy. I'm sorry, man.
Tell me, give it to me straight, River.
Because, man, we've been dealing with this company for a long time. You know that if they could really do something about it, like right now, without breaking anything else wildly and haphazardly, they would probably do that right now.
But he starts off by saying, so one of the things that's really good about having a live game that we're able to update a bunch is that we have the freedom that allows us to balance and bring it. Like they know. They know.
They know. Of course they know.
It feels like it's almost intentional to me. Like they're like when they were planning the last rebalance, they're almost like, well, let's give hand cannons their day in the sunlight, and intentionally made them the dominant gun at the moment.
Right, I feel like this is anathema to what they're trying to do with Crucible. Well, you know what, though, River, I will respect your thoughts on this. Crimson Warlock, what do you think about this? Are you pissed off? I'm pissed off.
You know, the fact that they're saying that came out, it to me sounds more of Destiny 1's our sandbox, and we don't want to break anything too bad. So we're just seeing how things roll. Like that's kind of how I take that one, is that they could spend a lot of time balancing it, but they have other grievances, I think, for it story wise and whatnot, that they would rather address now. I think they know that the Crucible is an issue, but at the same time, like they're doing so many different experiments with Destiny 1 that it's almost not worth it for them to invest so much when they know kind of where they want to go in the future with like Destiny 2 and other content.
Jez.
Well, I'm going to say something that's hopefully going to lower your anger a bit. I think he's just phrasing how this season has been dominated by Thorn. Last word. It's not that they're not going to do something about it. It's just this is still the season. Like they're going to change it. It's just until they change it, it's still going to be the season of Thorn. Like I think it's just a way to phrase it.
That's what he means. But Luke Smith needs to work on his public phrasing if that's what he really means. Because I understand Remy's angle, because what you just said is not what he just said.
See, that's just how I would take that phrasing.
I
it's
could
not like
see
he said
meaning what you're saying. I think
like
that's a possibility, but that's not what he said.
If he said something like, come September when we add new guns, it's going to change again, then I would probably be like, oh, well, they're not going to do anything until then.
Right.
I don't know. The way he phrased it makes me feel like it seemed intentional almost.
Here, let me kick something in here real quick.
This could also be Luke Smith crass, though. That's just all I want to say.
Let me kick something in real quick. How badly do they want to not be Call of Duty? They don't want to be Call of Duty. What is Call of Duty? Call of Duty is all auto rifles. And even Halo, and I didn't play Halo, but I've heard Halo had a specific auto rifle, right, that everybody uses or everybody used. So when they started the game, they thought it was balanced, or otherwise they wouldn't have put it out there. And it turned out that it wasn't, right? Auto rifles just ruled, and they just kept nerfing and kept nerfing and kept nerfing. And then they come to figure out nobody's using hand cannons, nobody's using pulse rifles. We have to do something, and they don't want it to just be auto rifle fest. So they nerfed auto rifles so much to make it different from other games that you're not just going to go out there and use an auto rifle. You have to use, or at least learn to use, these other types of guns. And maybe they're making us, or the people that haven't used hand cannons, learn to use them so that later on, when it is more diverse and they do have more balance, that at least you go, oh, well, maybe I won't use my auto rifle, I'll use my hand cannon this time. But I think they're trying to get away from the shooter bro Call of Duty auto rifle mentality.
Okay, your opinion is totally not invalid. I can totally see this, but Datto, he broke it down from the time that he started killing this dude, from the time he was dead, was 10 frames.
Mm-hmm.
It was 10 frames was his kill time. Like that's not even a second. That's like a third of a second. Like this is so far out of balance. It is so far out of balance.
Go with it. I felt like the TTK when Destiny came out was in a good place, and I liked it as opposed to Call of Duty, because Call of Duty seemed to have such a short TTK relative to Destiny. Mm-hmm. But Destiny has been creeping up on that faster TTK in the meta. Like, to this point now, we're faster TTK than Call of Duty is.
Right? That's crazy.
It's taking the specialness away from the game type that Destiny provides.
Right, because if you don't use Thorn, if you don't use the last word, you are just at a disadvantage. That's it. That's all you get for wanting to play in a certain style. You know, like I guess I will give them like a tenth. I will give Bungie a tenth of what they are trying to do as to what they're doing. But I mean, 10 frames is way too short. And something needs to be done about that like a month ago.
I'm kind of confused by that though, because the last word really hasn't been changed as much as like Thorn has.
Well, I think it just went a little bit less noticed for a longer period of time.
Yeah, because the range on last word is bigger than it used to be.
Yeah, it's a lie.
Well, you bring up a good point, is that if, say they nerf Thorn, right, Remy? Say they nerf just Thorn, what's going to be the next OP weapon?
Well, it would be that other hand cannon.
Okay, so would you think they want to try to like balance that out too while they're doing Thorn?
Yeah, that sounds great.
What's the next
Get somebody on that.
What's the next OP weapon?
Who knows?
That's the point I'm bringing up.
I think it might be Red Death.
Yeah, but it's
probably
Red Death.
But I'm
It is
saying,
Red Death.
and I play naked. Down in the chat was pointing this out too. Is that they're not just going to focus balance on one thing, such as Thorn, even though Thorn badly needs that, of course. Mm-hmm. But they need to take their time to try to balance out all weapons across the board to try to make them all viable again, and that's going to take more time than just working on Thorn.
By the way, River, I thought that was a statement.
I think it's just the exotics that need rebalanced. I mean, people were saying how much they loved using their auto rifles and everything else at E3 where there were no exotics present. Everything was peachy keen, it seemed like. Mm-hmm. And I really think that if they just concentrate on just rebalancing just that handful of exotics that are clearly on top, it would have a significant impact in the overall game.
It probably also doesn't help that for the past two expansions, the meta for auto rifles has been the bullet hose.
Yeah.
Like that's the most common legendary auto rifle that you can get.
Yeah, you're totally right. The low impact, high fire rate, and I'm not interested in those weapons.
And apparently the middle ones have the best TTK, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
What was that, River?
I was saying you're not interested yet.
I'm glad I asked you to say that again.
If you want a good auto rifle, get it that shot Luna.
Right. Or the NL Shadow is quite nice as well.
Shadow, they're the exact same.
In fact, I highly recommend NL Shadow. There's a few of the weapons in the new profiles that for some reason don't match up exactly to the previous archetypes. The NL Shadow being one of those. It has depending on how you look at it, either too high of an impact or too low of too high of an impact or too high of a rate of a fire, depending on however you want to look at it. But it doesn't match up to either of the two existing archetypes.
It's because it's faster than the slow Suros. Like when you got the Suros aimed on sights, at the same time it's using a scout rifle impact.
I mean, the reason I brought this up on Guardian Radio, Bife just did a video on the Deadshot Luna, and I had it on my back and made Mark look at it because Bife wasn't in the stream, just because he did that video, and it's true. It's that weapon, and again, we're going back to here we are talking about not just kinetic weapons, right? But if you're talking about just kinetic weapons, that Deadshot Luna and that NL Shadow are two really good scout rifle weapons that work really, really well. And that's kind of, if you want that, that's kind of the way you have to go. Because an auto rifle is just not usable.
The thing is, you still can't go that way because you still got Thorn and Last Word.
Agreed. Absolutely right.
So, like, there's this entire like level of play that no one gets to see because of those two guns. Like, if you match up with some friends in like a 6v6 or a 3v3, like just timing your launching to get in the same match, and then you ban certain weapons, it's the best PvP you could ever play.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Well, again, that goes to private matches.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. I mean, unless somebody else had something else they wanted to throw in on this.
Nope.
Moving on.
So they finish up the list by confirming once again that they were going to provide us with the biggest 6-player raid yet. And between now and September 15th, they plan on exploring a range of topics that they know are important to us, including weapon rebalancing, as we've been having a lengthy discussion about here, economy improvements, too many shards, an overhauled quest experience, and bounty enhancements, faction allegiances, endgame content, and more. Anything in particular in this list you guys would like to discuss?
Faction allegiances.
Yeah. What are you thinking about that, Kdub?
Dude, I mean, factions have been, all it is we use them to rep up and get a shader, right? Or
So
to get,
sad.
You know, right? It should be such a deep story, part of the game, part of who you are, part of who your Guardian is and what you represent. And, you know, it's just really now it's just a color and a shader. And it should be so much more than that. And I hope that that's where this is leading. That it's
Give me an example.
New Monarchy PvP versus Dead Orbit.
So what you're saying is if you are wearing New Monarchy, like what are you talking about? Just the banner itself? Or
no,
would you want to be like the
New
full
Monarchy
suit?
guns. Right, you can only use New Monarchy guns, you can only use Dead Orbit guns, and it's a Dead Orbit versus New Monarchy battle or something. I mean, there's a million different ways that you could do it, but that's just one instance, but that you could, you know, rep your faction.
Agrios, what do you think about this?
I want to see political struggle. I want to see infighting. We're in this like a post-apocalyptic world that like this is the last of mankind, and what everything's just shiny, peachy keen in the tower all the time. Like in the lore, we find out about Guardians killing Guardians, and Guardians being exiled, and Guardians sacrificing themselves for knowledge, and all these kind of gray area things that make life real. And in the game, we get none of that. We get very much kind of a surface, got to go kill this bad guy, and you're off to do it, and come back and claim your reward, and Speaker says something fancy, and he acts a little shady, and that's it. But yeah, I want to see this more lifelike interaction of, you know, humanity is not peachy keen. We don't get along. Even if we're all together fighting a big enemy, we still don't get along. So I want to see more of this type of interaction. That's important to me as far as the story goes.
Jez.
To kind of quell the excitement, I'm pretty sure it means just being able to rep your faction without wearing the thing, wearing the buff.
And I hope that too. But if that's all it is, I'll be sad.
Because in the context of where they give that out, it seems like it's more to do with like a UI change.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, I was hoping you'd just be able to roll that or like choose that faction on whatever class item you happen to be wearing to you know, as part of like the skill tree on your class items now. Like they'd have each of the factions as a selectable node or something along that. I was hoping they would install something like that.
Well, what about this? And this is a little bit of a rabbit hole. What about, let's say that you like Dead Orbit, and the higher level that you got Dead Orbit, the better roll and stats you got on the armor and guns that you could get from them.
That's interesting.
I'd love something like that.
That's definitely
I really like that idea, actually, and I think if they took out the whole where each faction had a strength and a specific stat sort of thing, I could get behind that 100%.
Okay, so
Kinda
yeah.
add it.
So you're saying, River, if Dead Orbit wasn't just strength and discipline, there would be a reason for everybody to go into whatever they wanted to do. Because right now, you're locked up in two of those only. You know, if you were into Dead Orbit, I hope you like strength and discipline. You know, if not, you need to choose Future War Cult. You need to choose New Monarchy in order to raise those stats with your gear.
Remember, there are hints at being able to re-roll them.
That would be crazy.
But so, for instance, let's say it's a 56 intellect and a 59 discipline. But if you're level 26, it's a 62 and a 68. And if you're level 30, it's a 70 and a 75, whatever it is. But the higher the level, the higher the roll on the stats. I think that would make people, hey, if power matters, right? Then that kind of looks pretty cool to me. I don't know.
And I would like to take that a little step one step more, and kind of add a little bit of buff to your weapons a little bit too.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Just like if you're rocking the Dead Orbit, pulse rifle or whatever the hell they have in there, because I don't do Dead Orbit. But if you're rocking their faction weapons, you get some sort of boost to something like it. It's something as minute as like experience or something like that. Just something to really get you to want to equip their stuff.
Right.
I always wanted to see bonuses for wearing full sets of things. Like if you're wearing all, Dead Orbit armor, you get a, extra ammo for your Dead Orbit weapons.
Make the hunt for those sets really matter, and have those people go out there to really hunt those things down.
Yeah, because right now it doesn't matter whether what you piece together or what you find. You just want stats that work for you, and everything else is just secondary. And I like collections, so yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm behind you on that one.
I think the community is a bunch of collectors.
Yeah,
more vault space.
Right, absolutely.
Oh
the
my
people
God,
who
more
are playing your
vault
game, Bungie, are collectors. The people who are still playing your game are interested in having everything in your game. Like, I wonder what it looks like. I wonder what Destiny looks like to somebody who puts nary 40 hours into a game and then just moves on. It's got to look not very awesome.
The first thing that I've come across in Destiny that made me feel like not playing Destiny anymore is not wanting everything I have and not deleting it, and then just not being able to go out because I've completed all the content. What's the point of earning more things that I don't have room for?
Right, we talked extensively about this week. It's come to the point where I don't want to gather anything more because I've already got so much stuff in my vault that I saved it for a reason. Yes, I'm a pack rat, but I saved this stuff for a reason. I deleted my my Stalker BNGL. Like, that looked like a really sweet rare scout rifle. Especially if they introduce like a rare playlist, I'm gonna be pissed. That I deleted that. But yeah, so exactly, Agrios, like I've gotten to the point, and I saw River was getting to that point earlier on Twitter. Like, he said he's not got room. He's starting to run out of room. And then Kdub really knocked it out of the park by saying that you don't know what full is until your postmaster becomes your vault. And that's it. Like, look at all these other weapons I've got just sitting here.
That was good, Kdub.
That was
Dude,
amazing.
I literally, and Arios is the same, but I literally have at least 10 items in each of my characters' postmaster. It's just, what am I don't want to, then the reason that I'm that way is because way early in the game, and I think I told the story to you guys before, but way early in the game, I deleted my Mighty multi-tool because I'm like, I'm not going to use this gun. And then the next thing you know, I have to use that gun. It was because of the raid. But then later on that I learned there's another gun. I was deleting every pulse rifle. Who kept the damn pulse rifle? Right? And then they buffed the shit out of pulse rifles. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have Red Death. I have to have this pulse rifle. I didn't use hand cannons. I didn't care. But then the next thing you know, guess what? You better have a hand cannon. So why would I delete something when the next thing I know they're going to do a buff or an update, and that weapon that I just deleted is now awesome.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Anyone else on this? Okay, so it's
Yeah, I was gonna, just speak up real quick. What I always never understood about the factions was when you're out doing patrols and you're like, hey, this is Dead Orbit here, or this is New Monarchy. Why didn't that give you rep for that faction? Like, that was the one
Right.
thing that always bothered me. I'm like, I'm doing this job for this specific faction in the game, but I just got Vanguard rep for doing it.
Didn't it give you that rep in the beta?
I don't know if it did or not.
remember.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
But
I got a
yeah,
bunch of hours on my hard drive. I'll go check it out.
also what I would love is for if you had Dead Orbit weapons equipped, I would love for every kill that you got gave you 1 rep. Like if you had a Dead Orbit gun, that would be perfect. Because then
Interesting.
it's giving you that incentive to use that weapon. If it's a heavy, you get 5 for a kill or something.
Maybe, I was gonna say maybe
whatever
every yellow kill
out.
you get a rep. If you got a rep for everything you kill, that would be too much. I mean, you only get 10 rep for completing a whole patrol.
Yeah,
you can kill 10 dudes in a second.
Yeah, have it balanced out, obviously, but that is one thing that I do wish
I like the idea.
I guess was there is just give us an incentive to use that weapon.
So Wolf Bible brings up in the chat about faction titles, like actual going along with this faction allegiance, and it's something that we've talked about before on the show, and I it was my opinion that they haven't given us titles yet because they don't want people to chase that yet. Like, I think that they're just looking to see what people do, and judging by this specific weekly update, talking about how they've read our feedback and they're changing all of these certain things that we've given our feedback to, and they wanted to know if the lore was going to be important to people. Are people going to go to Reddit and talk about how pissed off they are because the lore's not in there? Yes, so they're going to adjust that. So I think that this is something that's along those lines. Like, yes, titles would be amazing. You get rank 100 in a faction, and you get a special title for that. That would be awesome. That would be amazing, and it would be something people shoot for. But I think that they just wanted to see, without any kind of additional prodding, how far would people go? Are they interested in doing this? Just by itself. Okay, 2 things. Number 1, it's 10:02. We have about another 15 minutes we could talk because we started so late. Does anyone have to leave right now, or can we go for the next 15 minutes? Excellent.
I'm good.
Awesome. Crimson Warlock?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Yep.
Kdub?
Rock and roll. Let's talk Bungie Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and then number 2, did anyone want to add anything to this, the faction allegiance titles and things like this before we move on?
Bring it.
All right.
Okay.
Bungie Day.
All right. Bungie Day. Day of the Player. Throughout this summer, we'll have many chances to delve deeper into the second year of Destiny. Excuse me.
Got a hairball.
Apparently I won't be. I'm dying right now. For now, it's appropriate to talk about some more stuff first. It's been a long, strange trip, and we have yet to do it justice. Now, I just felt like I should mention here, I don't know if this was intentional or not. I have to imagine it is intentional. It's a long, strange trip is a quote from Jerry Garcia, and they're currently on their final tour run ever. They just played in California this past week, and my girlfriend went to see them there, and they're playing in Chicago coming up here, and that will be their final show ever. So I just thought this might be a little nod. Whether you like the Grateful Dead or not, they definitely influenced our culture.
Interesting.
And the Bungie Community Day tradition was set into motion by players of Bungie games. They made it official on 7/7/7, and since then, the 7th day of the 7th month has been a time to recognize an amazing group of people who assemble in games to become a community. They tell us to pay a visit again on Tuesday, and they'll have some celebrations of the awesome stuff you've done this past year, along with some invitations for how you can express yourselves. They'll also tell you how any player who's braved the first year of Destiny can achieve permanent, exclusive, legendary status. This is something they've been working on for a while, and your own triumphs are the crucial ingredient. So this is interesting, if not cryptic. What do you guys think?
River.
I got nothing.
Well, so you are the other person who's been around for Bungie forever, right? Crimson Warlock wasn't really big on it. Jez, you weren't huge into Halo. Kdub, were you a big Halo person?
Never played
He's
Xbox.
never played
once.
it.
Wow. Wowie, wow. So you're the only other person who's experienced this Bungie day prior, right?
Well, see, I started in Halo 2.
Oh, okay. You started in Halo 2?
I just
I played
wasn't
Halo
so
1 and
big
Halo
into the
2
community.
thoroughly, but then I dropped off until the face of the earth till now, so.
Got it.
I mean, I'm excited for Bungie Day and whatever it is that they're going to be doing for us. I always love Bungie Day.
I tell you what, I am super, super, super glad that we have access to Destiny at this point, because last year, Bungie Day, they're talking about all this sweet stuff they're doing, and good God, all I wanted to play was Destiny back then.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at this point, I will be able to go into the game and play it, you know? Like, I feel like that is a great way to celebrate Bungie Day. Go in and play Destiny. Was already planning on playing Destiny that day. So, you know, I think that this will be like, you know, during the beta, there was that period where it was like, okay, if you play during the beta, you'll get this emblem. If you play during this section of hours, you get this emblem. But it sounds like there's even more to this. You know, your own triumphs are the crucial ingredient. Like, this could mean what you've done so far. Like, if you've killed 2,000 dregs so far, you know, like maybe there's even different emblems for different people who have done different things. You know, run the raid 50 times. Like this all seems plausible as far as this is concerned. Okay, so what do you think about this, Kdub, as someone who's never played a Halo game?
I did a lot of reading on the on Bungie Day. I was thinking about it, and as far as the one that's coming up, which, you know, that's what we really should probably concentrate on, is one of the things that they said in that update is, along with some invitations for how you can express yourself. So that sounds to me like on Bungie Day, we're going to get some new emotes.
I don't think so.
You don't think?
No, I don't think so. That's too awesome. You got to scale back your expectations,
dude. I'm just telling you right now. Read that line again, and it has that.
Like that.
It says that, and then it, you know, talks about, obviously we're going to get the info on the year one VIP stuff, as far as exactly, I think, what we're going to get. You know, so I'm kind of excited about it. But I think obviously we're going to get emblems. They show a picture of the emblem there. But I think there's some. It says permanent, exclusive, legendary status. Right? Is it just that emblem? I would hope that it's more than that. But when they say, along with some invitations for how you can express yourself, that sounds like an emote to me, man.
I want to be on board with you, but seriously, if you go back and watch my videos from when before Bungie, before they launched Destiny, like I had my head in the sky, man. I had my head in the sky. So I don't think it's that. That's they totally could be talking about that. But that's like the old Remy. The old Remy would have read that and said, yes, this is clearly new emotes, because that's how you express yourself in Destiny. But yeah, I think it might be just as simple as this emblem, which is cool. I really like the emblems that make use of more than just one or two colors. Like, I feel like this one has some blues and some grays and some oranges. Like, I feel
the only thing I want to add, and I'll let everybody else go, but is that, like, okay, so everybody that we play with, everybody that we know in the game is going to get this emblem. So it's not going to be very rare, right? Because we all are going to get it. Where it's going to be important is 5 years from now, when there's so many other people playing, and you pop that emblem on, and people are like, "Wow, where'd you get that?" Right?
Totally.
But so that's I was kind of thinking it was a little anticlimactic, because everybody's going to have it. It's kind of like Glowhoo. You know, remember going to the tower and everybody and their brother had freaking Glowhoo on? It was like you couldn't even see. It was so bright. And then everybody's going to
all of Destiny is going to be wearing black after the Taken King drops.
Exactly. Everybody's going to have black. Look at this emblem. Then it's going to get old, and we're like, eh. And then, you know what? 4 or 5 years from now, we might really appreciate it. But up front, it's going to be kind of meh, I think.
Yeah, I could see that.
Good point.
I do rock the House of Wolves emblem just because I think it's awesome. I mean, a lot of people have it, but I think it's just really sweet looking. What else? What else we got on this? Any Crimson Warlock? Did you have something to add to this, Jez? Agros?
No, not really. I mean, I'm just excited to see what they give us next week. That's all.
See, I just find it funny that Bungie scheduled Bungie Day on the Rocket League day.
I have a question.
Hit it,
Remy.
do it.
Remy, are you gonna go see them on Bungie Day?
Yeah, I don't know. I should bake them some cupcakes.
Do something, man. I mean, don't they do stuff like maybe at the office or something like that?
Totally.
Yeah,
It's a whole great big.
Stuff, yeah.
What's that, Agrios?
I said I believe that last Bungie Day they gave people tours of the office and like they had events going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want me down there.
Come on.
If they want me
You're
down there, I will
there.
receive an invitation. They will.
You're
They will contact.
there.
Deej
Nah,
has my
just
email. Deej has my Twitter. Like, we are following each other. He could totally direct message me.
You should totally just go dance on their doorstep.
Right.
Give them a call or something, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Is there something for local players to take part in Bungie Day? I don't see why not. They love the players. We love them. Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Dude, if I lived there, I would go knock on your door and drag your ass out of your house so that we could go over to the freaking to the office and
right,
go
and
see
then we
what
would go
can
there,
do.
and it would be awesome.
Yeah. But since I'm not there, you're gonna have to go there for me.
Right. No. That sounds crazy.
Okay.
That sounds crazy.
Go get a steak or something.
I'll
Right.
knock on their door in August.
Oh, right, you're going to be here in August. Exciting. Jez will be in town. Maybe
That's
they'll
cool,
give you a
man.
tour, Yeah.
Hey, real quick, you want to give away this last poster?
Oh, yeah, let's give away this last poster. All right. Anybody come up with a sweet trivia question for this? Or no?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put myself on mute for a second.
Do it.
Carry on.
It's really sad. It's really sad because I had actually come up with a bunch of questions previously. Snabobo, he had done this. It was like a Question Your Guardian. It was like a game show style show that he did. And I helped him write a bunch of the questions, like a bunch of like obscure stuff, but things that it was Destiny author versus Bife, and so there were nitpicky things, and I don't know why I didn't come up with a better question. You know what? What about we just go where Jez lives? Does anyone have a problem with that? Because that's a good one.
I just want to say I know that Snabobo kid.
Yeah,
He's Canadian as well.
there it is.
You guys say where. You can't just say that.
Oh, him?
Yeah. There's a specific. Yeah. Okay. So the question is, everybody in the chat.
Type it in the chat as well.
Okay. The question is.
All right, so while we're doing this, I'm going to fill everybody in that there's currently an issue where you may find your store-bought Red Bull codes are not working when you enter them in the site.
Right.
If this happens to you, there is a source that you can go to help you out. I've linked it in the chat there. And what you need to do is take a picture of your cam plus the code tab and submit the picture with the form. You have to ensure you include your PSN, Xbox L, all that stuff. And you have to explain that the code isn't working on the form there, and they'll help you out.
That's a lot of work.
It is.
Right. All right, so nobody has got it so far. I feel like this is a good one, and
I've brought it up a couple times.
Totally.
I like the each province could eat England comment. That's like the best thing I've seen.
What I wanted it to be is something that regulars could, we've talked about it before, something that someone who had just listened regularly could come up with, Agrio says Bananarama. Yeah, that's really close. It's actually just off of this river, So yeah, so we got
that's gonna go a while. I can tell.
Oh my God.
like Diddy Cockapar.
They've literally said everywhere in Canada, I think, except for where you live.
No, they've missed about
No.
5 provinces.
So do we
I
have
don't
anything else left to talk about in Destiny? I mean, I know we got tons of stuff to
Iron
talk
Banner
about in
returned
Destiny.
this week. And we saw a bit of a glitch when it first arrived. They brought the pulse rifle the first time ever, but when Lord Saladin arrived in the tower, he wasn't awarding those competing in his tournament appropriately. People were finding the awards coming later or not at all. And in fact, it turned out there was a glitch, whereas if you finished an Iron Banner match and did not get your rep or anything, if you immediately left there and went to another instance, such as a Nightfall or level 35 PoE that you hadn't completed, you would then get the rewards for that particular stage when your rewards finally did drop.
And that sounds like bad times. I feel bad for those people who didn't get that. I feel bad for the people this was their first Iron Banner.
I was
Okay,
so happy I wasn't home.
so here is the hint. Here is the hint for everyone out there. Where Jez lives could be considered a homeland of many a warlock. Oh, there it is. Wolf Bible. Wolf Bible has got it. Nova Scotia.
Sweet.
Nova Scotia.
What's
What?
that?
I said Nova Bama Scotia.
Nova Bama Scotia.
I think that type of talk can get you arrested.
Yeah, definitely.
It actually literally means New Scotland.
So before we went on the show, I want to also mention the Destiny movie of the week. We rarely miss that. This week it's a parody. It's Foil, a Destiny parody of Royals done by Lucent Beam. And it's an interesting song. He also, when he goes to introduce the movie of the week, he says that the Destiny community is an endless wellspring of colliding imagery and passions. Whether you filter the internet in search of when you filter the internet in search of Guardians, you'll find joy, criticism, victory, defeat, lunacy, and sheer brilliance. And each one of those words is a link to a different excellent runner-up for movie of the week, including the criticism ones, the Dado video we talked about earlier, as well as some other things. So that's a nice acknowledgement of those particular issues.
I agree wholeheartedly. We gotta do shout-outs. All right, but congratulations to you, Wolf Bible.
Wolf, send me a message on PSN with your address, and I'll send you the poster.
All right, shout-outs, starting with Kdub.
Man, my shout out is really just to the community as a whole, because there's been so much awesome, so many awesome things going on with charities and the live stream and the stuff that Bungie has helped us do and accomplish. It's just in general, just to our community, people like the people that are in the stream right now. It's awesome.
Excellent shout out, Agrios.
I didn't really think of one ahead of time this week, so I'm just going to duplicate Kdub's. I'm just going to shout out to everyone, but in particular the people who join us here every week in the stream and chat with us and give us great things to talk about. Anybody who comments and things in particular showed us support so far. I really appreciate it, and shout out to all you guys. Like talking to you every week.
Jez.
Shout out to Luke, because he probably still needs love.
His poor Wazoo. Crimson Warlock.
I am going to shout out tonight to Smokey the Bear. For all the Americans, only you can prevent fires on the 4th of July. I'm going to be shooting off professional fireworks.
Operator.
Nice.
I am. I'm a fireworks display operator. So yeah, just be safe and don't do stupid things with explosives.
Good call. There's already been a number of accidents, so yeah, it's a good message.
River. It's still gone. Sad. You know what? I'm willing to bet his shout out was to Bell Bunny.
Yeah.
So shout out to Bell Bunny.
For always being a pillar of the community.
Right. Definitely. I don't know how she does it. I can barely balance the show and keeping up with Nightfalls. I don't know how she does it. So lots of stuff to talk about. I got some questions today that we'll be talking about next week. My shout out is to James Horner and his family. He died just in this last couple weeks. And this guy was responsible for so many amazing scores, like Star Trek II. The score to that is so amazing, but he also did 3. He did the score to Braveheart, to Krull, to Aliens. Like, this guy was amazing, and he had such a style without going, full kitsch. Like when you hear Danny Elfman, it's Danny Elfman, but that's because of what he does. When you heard James Horner scores, they were just amazing. So, shout out to him. Sad times. He was in his 60s and he had a lot more that he could have done. But that's it. That wraps up episode 47. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.
Later, guys.